Well, we've been in an Easter series called Victory at the Cross for the last couple weeks. 3 weeks ago, we talked about the Old Testament prophecies and how it was that Jesus fulfilled all of those Old Testament prophecies. The cross was foretold, the fulfillment, the cross sealed our redemption. Then last week, we talked about whether or not we were a fan or a follower. You remember the difference between that? And the quote that rings with all of us is the biggest threat to the church today are fans who call themselves Christians but aren't actually interested in following Christ. And so thanks for coming this morning, digging in beyond the fan level to a follower saying, I'm going to follow Christ, and that's awesome. But today, I'm going to deviate a little bit from your traditional narrative of Easter and go beyond that for victory at the cross. And we're going to begin by shopping for Easter dresses or Easter shoes or a new suit. Did you like my new suit this morning? Yeah, I'm not the suit guy, but you got to do it on Easter, And whether it's new shoes or a new dress, Gucci or Louis Vuitton, or we're all going to maybe go home to eat some really great meal, or go out to eat some big old tomahawk ribeye. When you go shopping for clothes or for food or even a car, Rolls Royce, yeah? Lamborghini, yeah? Bugatti, yeah? No? JCPenney, Payless Shoe Store, Happy Meals, and riding a scooter. That's kind of where we're at. Talking to some people last week, when you go out to eat, and maybe it's a celebration. I think they were at, what's the seafood place over there on the east side? Yes, thank you, Chesapeake. Lobster. They don't put the price there, do they? What do they say? Market price. It's like, how deep are your pockets? Do you, yes, I'll take 2 lobsters. Or you go, how much is the lobster? Because most of us, let's face it, we read the menus right to left. My daughter never read a menu right to left in her entire life. She always read it left to right. I want that. Then I would quickly look to the right side of the menu. Why is that? Because we have to know how much something costs before we make a commitment for purchase. Jesus knew what it would cost him. He knew in advance what it would cost him to come and rescue us. And he never hid the price of what it would cost us to be a follower of his. So the text on this Easter Sunday is out of Luke, chapter 14, beginning at the 28th verse. Jesus is speaking in parable. He says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower or a house or whatever. Will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? That makes sense, right? That's what we're talking about. For if he lays the foundations, not able to finish it, everyone will go, silly boy. Ridicule him, saying, well, the guy began to build, but he just wasn't able to finish it. Or suppose, verse 31, a king is about to go to war. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able with his 10,000 men to oppose the one that's coming against him with 20,000? If he is not able, then he'll send a delegation, while the other's still a long ways off, and he'll negotiate for peace. Here comes the kingdom of God is like. So here's these 2 illustrations, right? Here's the 2 illustrations about building something, about going to war. We're going to sit down and count the cost. Then he says, in the same way, verse 33, any of you who does not give up everything he has cannot be my disciple. See, Jesus never hid the cost of what his Easter would cost him, and he never hid the price from us. He said, I can't give up everything. Is that really what we're talking about? Is signing over all the things that you own to the church or the kingdom, not in a physical sense. But how about this? Let's evaluate life. And I had this conversation actually with my eldest granddaughter just over the weekend. And that is that everything that you hold in life, everything you have, your house, your car, your clothes, your jewelry, your bank accounts, whatever it is that you possess, don't hold it like this. Hold it like this. And that takes a lot of mental acumen to say, I'm going through everything I have is the Lord's. The Lord giveth, and the Lord, blessed be the name of the Lord. The Lord gives, and the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So everything you have, because I'm telling you, if you begin to squeeze it, you know what happens? It's like getting a handful of sand at the beach. You like to go to the beach? How do you hold the most sand? Like this. As soon as you begin to squeeze it shut, what happens? It all falls out your fingers. You may have a little bit left. God says, you know what? It cost me everything to come after you, to leave heaven, to come down and to show you the way, to put on an earth suit for 33 years to show you how this is done. So everything that I give you, please, don't squeeze it. Just hold it like this. That's how you're going to have victory. It's the paradox of the kingdom, isn't it? The two opposing truths. How do I get more? By giving more, by having your hands open. Say, what can I do to help you? How can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? What is there in my life that might be a blessing to you? And then those things that he does bless you with, and he gives you that car, and he gives you those clothes, and he gives you that money, or whatever, make sure that you bless him with it as a sign that says, Lord, all of this is yours. You gave it all to me. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So, how much does it cost? We're going to look at two things very quickly, and then Hannah's going to come back, and we're going to finish up with a song or two of worship this morning. Two factors for discussion this morning. Number one is Jesus' cost, and number two is our cost. So if you're taking notes and you want to follow along, this is what we're talking about. Jesus' cost was obedience, blood, sweat, and tears. I'm not talking about the 60s rock and roll band or 70s. And then our cost, which is equally obedience, blood, sweat, and tears. Wait a second, I thought I was going to hear about Easter bunnies and how, that up from the grave he arose. Yes, we sang that. It's Easter. We celebrate his resurrection, but now what? Right? What happens next Sunday? What's going to happen next Sunday and the Sunday after that? What do we celebrate? What do we do with this beautiful gift that he's given us? Well, you may not know this gentleman. His name's Leonard Ravenhill, a great revivalist. He said this: if Jesus had preached the same message that ministers preach today, he'd never been crucified. What does that mean? That means that the true gospel isn't always comfortable. In a lot of churches today, we want you to be comfortable. Why? Because we want you to come back. We wouldn't want to offend you with what? The cross, which is offensive. My job is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. That's the job of a preacher. So if you get a little afflicted today, maybe you're just a bit too comfortable. T.S. Eliot, he said, the greatest proof of Christianity for others, for you, is not how far a man logically analyzes and reasons his believing. No, the greatest proof for Christianity is how far in practice is he willing to stake his life on his belief. In other words, are you willing to pay the price? Well, I thought it was free. I thought the gift of eternal life from Jesus is free. It is. It is. It's the most expensive free thing you've ever attempted in your life. And I'll explain. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a pastor during World War II who was eventually hung for opposing Hitler, hung by the neck and died 4 weeks before liberation, in the Flausenberg concentration camp, which Cheryl and I have been to, he said this: when Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. And that says to me that I can't be a casual Christian. I don't just get to be a Christian on Sundays. I got to be a Christian on Monday afternoon when somebody's like, I got flipped off. I got flipped off. What day was that? Friday. Yeah. What? What would I ever do to deserve being flipped off? Hand to heaven, I did nothing wrong. It was just this little 9-year-old kid on the side of the road. I don't have time to tell you the whole story, but it's delicious. We had a little come to Jesus moment, he and I. What was his name? I can't say his name. I better not say his name. But no, Grandma and Mom made him come to the house and apologize. So that was good on Grandma. Good on Mom for making the little saint come and apologize to him. Now, the Apostle Paul told us what the cost would be for Jesus, and he wrote this while in prison, incidentally. He said this in Philippians 2. He said, your attitude should be the same as Jesus. Ooh, that's tough, right from the get. Who, being in the very nature of God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped. I deserve to be equal with God. Not. He left that behind. But made himself, say it, nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made in a human likeness, being found in the appearance of man, he humbled himself and became, are you with me? Do you feel this? Do you feel the angst of what it's going to cost? I thought it was free. Yeah, well, this is what Jesus paid. I think he's going to probably require a little tip of the hand here for you. He's probably going to require some of the same stuff from us. Why? Because he's our superhero, and he always shows us the way, and he doesn't ever ask us to do anything that he hasn't done himself. That's what a good leader does, by the way. So it cost Jesus dearly to come and show us the way, and before he ever endured the cross, he left pretty good the confines of heaven, right? He left home, left his throne. He had the super stereo of heaven and the angels singing 24/7, whatever he needed. And then I don't know how it is in your mind, but here is Jesus in the Trinity, and he's going to go to earth. So he's going to leave all of this. That's what Paul says. He left all of that. And so here he is, the throne, the heaven, the angels. It's just, and he chooses free will. He chooses in this place called eternity where there is no time. There's no time. It always was, always is, always there. He leaves, watch this. He chooses to leave eternity, and he steps into time wearing an earth suit as a child. Says, if I'm going to rescue them, I got to know their experience, and I'm going to have to show them how to do it. Let me just say this as just a side note. Every other religion on the face of the earth, if God is up here in their religion and we are down there, every other religion on the face of the earth says this: hey, you no good scum, be transformed, be fixed, whatever, be reincarnated a little bit higher. Eventually you won't be a bug. You'll maybe come back as a dog and then or whatever. Get up here. You can have transcendental meditation. You can find this higher level or whatever. Hogwash. False gods and lies. Because I know a God who said, they're in a real bad way. I should go down there. I should go down there, live like them, suffer like them, be tempted like them, scoop them up if they'll let me. Have you ever tried to pick up a toddler that doesn't want to be picked up? Yeah? Welcome to Easter. Because we're all toddlers. Isn't it beautiful? I mean, I've got 5 of them. They're not all this way, one at a time. But occasionally when you go like this and they go like that back, doesn't something, you go, yeah, that's beautiful. Right? That's what God does when we lift our hands in worship. Say, here I am, God. Pick me up. And you know what he does? He does. He comes and he left heaven to bring heaven and then take us to heaven. That's what he did. That's what Easter is all about. That's the price that he paid. Born as a baby, grew up in poverty, faced rejection, faced temptation, betrayal of one of his best friends, ultimately death on the cross. He came down. It took obedience. These 3 verses out of John tell it true. I only do and say what I see and hear my Father do and say. That's Jesus. John 5:19, John 8:28, John 12:49. There they are. He says, I'm only doing what I saw Dad do. And it took not only his obedience, but what was the other half? Blood, sweat, and tears. We see that in the Garden of Gethsemane in Luke chapter 22. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and sweat like drops of blood falling to the ground. How much did it cost Jesus? Right? We're not talking Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Rolls Royce and Lamborghinis, but there was a price that had to be paid. And he said, I'll pay the ultimate price. I'll give everything. Well, he left heaven and came to earth. In Isaiah 53, we find 13 prophecies that were fulfilled by Jesus. There was no beauty or majesty to attract us. That's what it says. Wait a second. You're the God of the universe, and you're going to come as the dumpy little kid in 3rd grade that stands against the wall in the school dance? No, I want to go down. I want to be big man on campus. That's who I want to be. I'm going to look that chiseled jaw, and I'm going to, he said, of all the things he could have done, he said, no, I'm going to leave that too. Despised and rejected. A man of sorrows. Familiar with grief. Are you beginning to see that it cost him? He willingly said, I'm going to be the outcast. He willingly said, I'm going to take the burden. He willingly said, I'm going to be rejected. Fourthly, he took our infirmities. He bore our sickness and weakness. He carried our sorrows. Not just his sorrows, but our sorrows. Pierced for our transgressions. The nails, the thorns, the spear. Crushed for our iniquities. Punished to bring us peace. Wounded for our healing. The Lord laid on him the iniquity of us all. He took your sin. He took mine. Willingly. That he is risen indeed. That's called the Paschal blessing. It's as old as the church. Paschal meaning Passover. You've heard of a Paschal lamb. He is the lamb, the sacrifice. Watch this. The sacrifice of God. That just doesn't cover sin, takes it away, expunges it. Anybody else besides me have a police record? I've been arrested a couple times back in the day. One time it was just like, I was such a fast driver, I didn't even realize I had 3 tickets. They just kept coming so fast, I couldn't keep track of how many I had. Till actually the judge swore out a warrant on me and came and clink, clink, got me at the house. Mom, I don't think you know that or not. Sorry. My mom's here today. Let me rethink this illustration just a moment. They said, are you Eric Hansen? I said, yeah. They said, you're coming with us. Clink, clink. I said, what's up? He goes, well, you got a few driving tickets here we got to take care of. So, yeah. He took them all. Jesus took everything. Where I'm headed is that if you have a record of sin in your life, which, anybody? Yeah. He comes along, and here's the term I'm after, expunges. Are you familiar with this term? It's a legal term where the judge reaches in with a big old fat eraser and goes, that never happened. So that even if someone were to look, they'd go, no record of that. This is what Jesus offers us. And it's free? We'll see. We'll see. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter and taken away by oppression and judgment. Imagine the royal king leaving his palace, going to live in a refugee camp. Not just to visit, but to live there, choosing to live there, to eat there, and to ultimately die there. Why? To rescue his people. That's what Jesus did for us. 1865, which is not as old as this campus. Is a Civil War hymn. Goes like this: Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, but he washed it. Anybody like Hickory River? I have a gift card for Hickory River. Bonnie just raised her hand. She was the first one to raise her hand. Bonnie, you brave woman. She goes, I like Hickory River. I'd like a gift card. So watch this. She's getting it for free. Uh-oh. But is it free? Is it free? It cost who? Cost me, but I give it for free. So she's going to go eat at Hickory River for free. But is it really free? No, it costs someone something. Thank you, Bonnie. So you and me, we say, oh, salvation's free. Well, it cost Jesus something. It cost him his life. Jesus knew what it would cost him. And he still paid it all. Obedience, his blood, his sweat, and his tears. That's this side of the equation. Now, what's it going to cost you and me? I would submit it's going to cost us the same things. Because that's why he came, to show us the way. Remember our Dietrich Bonhoeffer quote? When Christ calls a man, he bids him to come and die. Not casual. Christianity cannot be casual. I know. Let me just say this. I just got to get it off my chest. If you ask most people, they say, are you a Christian? They're going to go, what? Yes, of course, I'm American. Yeah, I'm a Christian. So what happens then is then we have to begin to qualify what Christianity is. Now it's like, are you really a Christian? Yeah? You ever heard this one? Like, are you a born-again Christian? Are you really a Christian? Are you a blood-washed Christian? Are you a Holy Ghost Christian? No, I would submit that you're either a Christian or you're not a Christian. Well, I go to church. Please. There's a lot of people that say they're Christian that go to church. Was it Ravenhill, Joey? Was it Ravenhill that said just because you sleep in the garage doesn't make you a car? Just because you put your little rump in a pew doesn't mean you're a Christian. Right? We have to have a change of heart. We have to change this to this. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I came in with nothing, and I'm going out with nothing. I just want to be a good steward of everything I get along the way so that the King is happy with me. Yeah? Okay. So let's dig in. Not your typical Easter text, I know, but we're going to go there. There's 3 of them quickly. 2 Timothy, Romans, and Luke. Look at this. Endure hardship like a good soldier. Offer your bodies a living sacrifice. And my disciples must deny themselves. Take up your cross. Take up your cross. Well, what is your cross? That coworker that's just a pain in the side. And you're still going to be a smile, happy, right? You're still going to be kind. Yeah, you want to put sugar in their gas tank. But you don't. Because you're born again. You've been changed. Your old nature is gone. And on the occasion that you do like mess up and foul up, you go, Lord, please forgive me. That was not, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Boom. He washes white as snow. And you get a do-over. I would suggest that's a good morning habit to get in. Good evening, good noontime, good early afternoon, good morning, all day long. Lord, help me. Help me. Help me with my attitude. Because when you first give your life to Christ, there's big things that probably begin to change in your life. And here's the thing. Here's what's so cool about being a Christian is when you give your life to Jesus, there wasn't this list. Now, if you're going to become a Christian, you got to stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this. This is what I heard, and that's the reason I didn't want to become a Christian. I saw a bunch of Christians with a long Missouri mule face on most of the time with no joy, and I said, who would want to be a part of that? But the joy of the Lord is my strength. So listen, no matter what kind of garbage you're involved in your life, understand this. There's no prerequisite. You come just as you are. Broken, busted, disgusted, disgusting, all your filth, all your dirt, and he takes you just that way. Like the prodigal son who came back after sleeping in pig feces, came running back, came walking back to the father. The father ran to him, this dirty, stinky child, and went, oh, you're disgusting. Go clean up, and then I'll hug you. No, he wrapped his arms like any good parent would. When the child goes like this, you don't slap their hands down. That's how Jesus is with you and me. So no matter where you're at in this process of coming to the light, which is Jesus, no, he'll never deny you. He'll never refuse you. He'll never forsake you. Well, I've never really had that moment where the light turns on and yes, but over time, and I want to take just a moment and explain something to you. Some people who are Christians, and I don't qualify Christian, you are a Christian or you're not. So some people who are Christians, they say, I remember, man, that was October 25th, 1986. I was happening then, and this is what happened. It was like a lightning bolt. And it's like, heaven's open, and that's great. That's awesome if that's your experience. Some people, they just started coming to church, and next thing you know, their heart of stone become a heart of flesh. And now they had compassion for people that were hurt, and that something has changed on the inside of them, and they're Christian. Somewhere along the line, they've stepped over and they said, yeah, I'm giving my life to Christ. The two scenarios are this. The end result is that the light is on. In option A, the switch got flipped. Doink. You walked in the bedroom and you flipped the switch. In the other scenario, you know what a rheostat is? You know that in the house where the dial just gets turned up and it can be kind of dim? You ever been called a dim bulb? The light's not on all the way. So no matter where you're at on the spectrum, like you got your hand on the knob and you're thinking, should I become a Christian? Not just in name. Yes, I'm not Buddhist, or I'm not Hindu, or I'm not Muslim. So I guess I got to be one of them. I guess I'll be a Christian. No, giving your life to Christ means saying, God, here I am. I'm dirty and I'm filthy. My hands are open. I got a lot of stuff I'm carrying. You need to forgive somebody. Right, that just went over like a Led Zeppelin and landed on you. Some people, they can't forgive somebody. And the Bible is clear. Have you ever played the Lord's Prayer? Forgive us our trespasses. Forgive me my sin, just like I forgive those who... Oh, it's so hard. That's going to cost me something. I thought it was free. Yeah. So here's this forgiveness thing. There's something harder than forgiving. I know it's hard. No matter what they did, it's hard. I have had to forgive some pretty big things. And sometimes the devil will try to remind me of them to see if he can get a root growing again in my heart and my chest. No. Cut it down, cut it down. If you don't cut it down right away, it does take root. Doink, and there it comes. It starts growing again, and put an axe to it. Some things from long time ago. But the devil doesn't give up. He's like he wants to devour you. He wants to kill you. He wants to destroy you. Why? Because he's the enemy of God. And as long as he can take you down, it's like saying, there, God, I got another one. You are the booty. You are the treasure that's being fought over. And the devil wants to take you down hard. But you're going to have to forgive somebody. Yeah. I told you there's one thing harder than forgiving, and that's carrying unforgiveness. Because it just eats you up. You can wake up in the middle of the night and begin to think about it just like that. But if you just release it, that unforgiveness, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm going to tell you something that is nearly cliche in Christendom, but it's so true. Unforgiveness is the acid that eats its own container. You've got to let those things go. You got to. All right. Okay, we're going to do this. You all right? All right, here's the other half of the equation. It's going to cost us obedience, blood, sweat, and tears. Obedience. Obedience is easy when you want to do it. The real test of obedience is when it's inconvenient. My mom, Eric, take out the trash. I don't want to. Oh, yes, you do. Because it's going to be very inconvenient for you if you say no. Well, I want to finish watching Gilligan's Island. 4 o'clock on school days. Gilligan's Island. Ginger Marianne. I had a crush on both of them, right? Anybody else? I'm a millennial. No, I'm not. I'm a boomer. Thanks, Joey. Right. So no, take the trash out. Well, when I want to, it's easy. It's when it's inconvenient that's when obedience is tested. I don't feel like it. The Bible often says, you need to forgive. Well, I just don't feel like it. Well, here's a news flash. We're called believers, not understanders. We walk by faith, not our feelings. So to have the excuse, I don't feel like it, well, that's pretty sophomoric. It's pretty lame. That's a lame excuse. I don't feel like it. That's what a little kid tells mom when mom says, take out, I don't feel like it. Well, I'm going to make you feel like it. So, it's going to take obedience. Obedience and forgiveness, which we've kind of covered in Colossians 3:13. Forgive one another as the Lord has forgiven you. It's going to take it in your generosity. Give, and it will be given unto you. Luke 6:38. Trusting God with everything. Everything. And you're going to find in your Christian walk that, listen, I've been walking with the Lord 40 years. I remember when I didn't think I could ever be 40 years old. But I've been walking with the Lord 40 years. Has it been a perfect walk? No. Have I twisted my ankle? Yes. Have I got distracted and played with the flowers and got off the path and did some? Yes. But you know what? I'm right here. Right here. You got to stay the course. Stay the course. And if you found yourself off the beaten path, I love this. This is the truth of the gospel. Everyone in this room, let's say you don't love Jesus, you're just not a Christian, you're just kind of observing, your hands on the rheostat, you don't know if you want to turn up the, you don't know if you want to, I get that, but just please understand, everyone in this room who isn't loving, serving Jesus as best as they can by his grace, none of you are any further than anyone else. Because we all stand at the foot of the cross. We are all just one breath away from saying, all right, Jesus, I don't get it. I don't understand. Please forgive me. I accept it. I'm yours. Something that simple like that. Just a prayer that says, I'm not the boss, you're the boss. Let's not complicate things. Well, let me get out a little pamphlet and show you all the Roman road and all this scripture. And no, how about this? God is God and you are not. You aren't on the throne. Because when you're not serving Jesus, you're the boss. There's a Seinfeld episode where this guy goes, I'm the whiz, I'm the whiz, I'm the whiz, I'm the boss, I'm the big man, you're not. No, you're not. You are not the king. You're the son of a king, which gives you great power if you're a Christian. You're a son or daughter of the king, and you have all kinds of authority, and with that comes a wonderful life. But we aren't the king. It's the Lord who gives and the Lord who takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So it's going to cost in generosity and our lifestyle, our choices. We've covered that. Be holy because I am holy, 1 Peter 1:16. It means saying no to sin. Well, what is sin? Sin is something that breaks God's heart. Sin hurts people, and God loves people. So if you hurt people, God says, that's not good. You've missed the mark. Well, I thought there's like all these commandments. There's 10 commandments. What are they? Yeah. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, all your strength. Love your neighbor as yourself, which is impossible to do, by the way. It's impossible to do. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself? Really? You do that? Okay. So you just bought yourself a new car? Yeah? Did you buy your neighbor one? No, didn't. Guess I failed there. Right? So let's just be honest. We all fail. We don't keep even 2 of the 10. So what does that mean? That means we need a Savior. Because before the sun goes down, you're probably going to break one of those 2 rules. So before you lay your head on the Lord, I had some victory today. I didn't do so good here today. Would you help me? Would you walk with me? Forgive me of that, and let's just start fresh. Just that simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Lord, you're the boss. I'm not. I got everything like this. Let's walk together. And he says, you're my child. Like he told the thief on the cross, today you'll be with me in paradise. That thief didn't have a chance to go do one single good work. That thief did not have the chance to go to church. That thief did not have the chance to be water baptized. Yet the Lord said to that man who simply confessed, you're Lord, he says, today you'll be with me. What is that? That's a confession of faith. That's that simple. So what does it cost? Our obedience, but it costs blood, sweat, and tears. Commitment, perseverance, sacrifice, faith through trials. I don't know why your grandma died. I don't know why your dad died. I don't know why that terrible thing happened. I don't know why the roof fell in on your family and they all died. I don't know why your spouse died. I don't know. I don't know, but we're not called knowers. We're called believers. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, those 3 boys that got thrown into the fiery furnace, remember? They said, even if we don't come out, God's still God. What? I've never seen such faith like that on. What's going on? Because a lot of times our prayers are, God, if you do this, then I'll do that. And you think he's some sort of spiritual Santa Claus or something. Like he's the one-armed bandit out in Vegas. That you're going to get the 3 bars and you're going to somehow. No, listen. Trust the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. But in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he'll direct your path. That sounds good. That's the Bible. It's going to cost. What's going to cost? Quickly, your comfort. You're going to be stretched to what's unfamiliar. It's going to cost you control because you're not the boss anymore. He's going to say, hey, Eric, I think you ought to consider doing this. Rarely does God, I'm just going to crack the door open here a little bit. Rarely does God, when he speaks to me in my heart and my mind, it's not an audible voice, but I feel compelled. I like, okay, I hear this. Hey, you ought to consider. Rarely does God say, go do that. Rarely does he say that to me. Because he's a good dad. Hey, you might want to consider this, Eric. I'm like, You really want me to? Yes. Okay. That's uncomfortable. And you lose a little bit of control. I'll look foolish if I do that. Well, who's on the throne? Right? Convenience. I'm going to tell you, it's not always convenient to serve the Lord. It's not always convenient. Credibility in the world's eyes. Some people may think you're foolish. Your career, you may be called to walk away from a position of promotion that conflicts with your convictions. May cost you companions. Not everyone that comes alongside you in your journey is there to help you. There are people that come up alongside you as you journey through life that the enemy has placed to say, you know what? Come off the path. Come off the path. Come on. It's fun over here. Let's go play in the mud together. When you play with pigs, you both get muddy, but the pig enjoys it. Sometimes there's somebody in your life that's constantly pulling you away from the cross, away from a life with Jesus. You got to evaluate and say, you know, I can appreciate that this person is in my life. I may need, and I'm supposed to love everybody, but they can't, I'm not going to let them in this circle. You know, we all have concentric circles of influence in our life, right? Right? I just can't bring them into this inner circle where they have all this authority and all this say in my life. I can love you, but I'm going to have to love you from a distance because I can't have you constantly haranguing me. Come on, let's go to the club. And it's hard at the beginning. It's hard at the beginning. Like my buddies early on, like, oh, you think you're so holy. You think you're so, you think you're a Christian now. You must, I didn't think anything badly of them. I said, listen, I just can't do that anymore because it doesn't make my Father happy. I see in his word and so, like I told you earlier, there's not a list of things you have to stop doing before you come. You come dirty, you come with your stuff. And when you really have a God encounter and you say, Lord, you're the boss of my life, something supernatural happens and your heart of stone turns to heart of flesh. And now it's not a list of things you can't do. It's a list of things you don't want to do anymore. That's a revelation. Now, those of you that applaud, maybe you've had that revelation, but it is the reality. It's like this. There's like a line, and over here, we're not saved, we're not born again, we're not a Christian. We may say we're a Christian, but we really haven't stepped over the line. And we come up to the line occasionally for whatever reason. We're at a funeral, at a wedding, or a holiday, or whatever, and yeah, we get close enough to be warmed by the fire. Like Peter denied Christ, warming himself by the fire. We get close enough to be warmed, and then we just go get cold again. Right? And you don't understand it. There's like a door, and it seems foreboding, and it says, all are welcome, enter here. And you want to walk through, and then of your own volition, because nobody wants to be pushed. Hello? Hey, pastor, you need to go visit my mom because she needs to get born again. You need to get, no. I go, no. That's not me. That's not me. It shouldn't be you. We don't push anybody. Right? So someday, you're going to, of your own volition, you're going to go, all right, maybe now's the time. I lived for myself. This is kind of fun out here. That seems restrictive. But you know what? The pain of remaining the same is greater than what I perceive the pain will be if I cross over. So I cross over, and when I cross over, the backside of the door says, whosoever. Enter in, and now it's like, wait a second. That was pretty easy. But my heart has now changed. Now those things don't. Sin has its pleasure. Come on. Hello. Paul said, I was the chief of them. I knew what's what, right? Oh, I got so many wonderful stories that I don't have time to tell you about how easy sin is and how fun sin can be. But the Bible says sin has its pleasure just for a season. That when you eat it, it's sweet in your mouth, but it lands like lead. It says rocks in your stomach. That's what happens, right? So you got to, okay, I'm over here, and now I have to sacrifice some of that stuff because I know it breaks my Father's heart, and I don't want to do that. But and then I come back like the prodigal said, Lord, forgive me. It wasn't really a great day. You know, I stumbled and I fell. I got off the path. Forget. He goes, no problem. Love you. Let me clean you up. The blood of Jesus, the blood of the Paschal Lamb washes white as snow. Sin had left a crimson stain, a red stain on your life, but he washed it white as snow. And he'll do it again and again and again and again. Not when you purposely go like, oh, I'm a Christian, I can go do whatever I want now. No, that's not the heart of a true daughter or the heart of a true son of the King. An athlete, I am not an athlete. There's a line from the movie Grease. Anybody? If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter. But if you're a real athlete, you go into training. And you're up before the sun, and you're running, and you're lifting weights that aren't attached to anything. You just because you think you need to lift them, and you're running in place on a treadmill. It's just crazy. You run like for an hour. You don't go anywhere. And you train, and you watch what you eat, and you pinch your body fat, and you don't eat this, and you don't have donuts. I mean, that's a steep price. No Krispy Kreme. It says in the Bible, wait a second. You know, in Greece, not you fry French fries in, but in the country of Greece, where the Olympics, right? And they gave them a wreath. They ran the race. They give them a wreath. What's it called? Say laurel wreath. From the laurel tree, which is right there. It's the national tree of Greece. And they would give a laurel wreath to the winner of the race. But the thing about a laurel wreath, these woven together branches of a bush or a tree, it's both, a bush and a tree. But a laurel wreath was a sign of victory. This is why your Caesars would wear them. This is why Caesar wore, it looks kind of doofy, but that was the thing. Just like powdered wigs were kind of a thing back in the day too, right? Right. So a laurel wreath was like, you're the king, you're the whiz, you're the boss, you're the bomb, you're the winner. They would enter into strict training to win a wreath that would die by the end of the day, be withered up, be dread. It'd be just a bunch of dead leaves in a week. You can throw in the trash. You entered into all that strict training for that. This is what Paul says, 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one gets the prize? So we should run in such a way as to get that prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last. That's what he's talking about, because that was happening then. But we do it to get a crown that will last for what? Forever. Worship team, come on back. I'm going to close with a paradox, and it's the paradox of Easter. And that is this. There is victory, think of it, at the cross. Does that seem incongruent to you? Yes, it should. Because what happens at the cross? You die. What do preachers say? Oh, come down to the altar. When you got married, you came down to the... When you got married, you came down to the... Why? Why? Have you ever thought why? It's because things die on altars. There's another revelation. That's why it's called an altar call. That's why we go to the altar when we get married. It's a place of sacrifice where we say, I'm not the boss. Everything I've got now, as tightly as I'm trying, hearses don't have hitches, sir, ma'am, right? Everything we have, we hold like this. Who does it belong to? Not mine. I came in naked, I'm going out naked. The Lord gives, the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So what we do with everything he places in our hands as we journey through life, we're going to be a good steward. Like when you get on the cruise ship. Anybody? Raise your hand, you've been on a cruise. Oh, yeah. Cruises. Have you ever, the first time you ever went on a cruise, or you went to a really fancy hotel, they said, I'll take your luggage, and you ain't taking mine from the side of town, you don't be taking my luggage. Yeah? I'm from the side of town, you don't be touching my stuff. But you enter into a big, nice hotel, you go on a cruise ship, and say, we'll take that. We'll steward it. We're the stewards. The bellhop, right? We'll steward it for you. We'll make sure we'll protect it, and we'll get it there. God has given you something. And the most important thing he's given you is your life. Are you stewarding it well? Do you want victory? I want victory. Well, how do you find victory? You find victory at the cross. That's the Easter message. I know it's a little avant-garde. It's a little bit off your typical Easter message, but that is the nugget. That's the gooey caramel center of the Snickers bar. That is the cross. Victory. Would you stand with me this morning? It cost Jesus everything. Blood, sweat, and tears. Salvation is free. Watch me. Salvation is free. Discipleship, costly. In just a minute, I'm going to give you an opportunity. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to bow our heads, and we're just going to have a moment of reflection. In fact, let's just do that right now. We're just all going to just have a moment of meditation here. To meditate, to chew again the things that you just heard. And you're going to hear, perhaps for the first time in your heart of hearts, the Lord saying, take up your cross, follow me. Take up your cross and follow me. I can't guarantee it's going to be easy. It can't be casual. It's going to cost you some comfort, probably. It's going to cost you some control, probably. You're going to evaluate the cost right now, because before you make that big purchase, you're going to go, what's it going to cost me? What's going to cost me? Well, it's free, yes. Salvation is free, but discipleship. Maybe you gave your life to Jesus last week or last month or last year or 10 years ago, but you kind of wavered on the obedience side. Today, turn that rheostat up. Make the love of Jesus brighter in your heart today. Step into his goodness. It took his blood, it took his sweat, it took his tears. Come to Jesus. Come to Jesus.